Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. Let's start our video with a story in which our OP, a proud disabled Army veteran, heads out to pick up a birthday present only to face a nightmare in the form of a wild Karen and Kevin duo. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. I shop for a watch, Karen screams and wants to hurt my service dog. About 6 years ago, I decided to buy myself a sturdy watch for my birthday, which is after Christmas. Yes, I always got one present for Christmas and my birthday. That sucked. Anyway, I did my research and decided on a G-Shock watch. I wanted it in olive drab green as I'd been in the Army for a long time and was a proud disabled Army veteran. Unfortunately, the only Macy's that had that color in stock was at a huge shopping mall that many people in my area nicknamed Hugedale. I called the store and told them to hold it for me and I'd come and pick it up. So, with much trepidation, I packed my PTSD service dog and my rollator and headed to the Macy's at Hugedale. I suffer from depression, PTSD, and social anxiety disorder. That's why I have a service dog. My PTSD service dog, QB, wears a vest that has PTSD service dog on it in large reflective letters. She was wearing her vest. She always wears it when we go out, even though by law it's not necessary. So I entered Macy's and noticed that the sales clerk by watches and fine jewelry was busy, so we decided to look around while waiting for her to be free so we could pick up the watch. All of a sudden, I hear a wild banshee shriek near me in some foreign language that I didn't understand. There she was, a wild Karen in an abaya and headscarf, gesturing at my dog and screaming. I'm like, what the heck? The only English Karen said was unclean, kill it, and she continued to scream. Then she tried to hit my dog. I backed away from her quickly so that she wasn't able to hit QB. I don't know if the jewelry sales clerk hit a panic button, but a whole lot of store people converged on us. The lady's husband came too. The husband, Kevin, began to yell too. He had their 2 kids with him, a boy and a girl. The little girl was also in an abaya and headscarf. A sales clerk who spoke their language tried to find out why they were upset and tried to explain that my dog was a service dog and could be in the store. According to their religion, dogs were unclean and couldn't be in stores, and they thought that my dog should be killed. Now, it takes a long time and over $10,000 to train a PTSD service dog, but because I'm a disabled Army veteran, I didn't have to pay for the training. Under the ADA Act, QB had the right to be with me while I shopped. That's part of her job. Karen and Kevin continued to scream and yell and make a scene. Kevin tried to come towards us and hit my dog and was held back by security. By this time, I was very upset, shaking and crying. 2 female Macy's employees just guided me gently and escorted me to a nice private lounge where they got me some bottled water for me and QB. They let me cry and calm down. After I'd bawled my eyes out and calmed down with QB's help and the Macy's employees' help, I returned to the watch and fine jewelry area. There was a gentleman in a nice suit who introduced himself as the store manager. He apologized profusely for the incident. I asked him what happened to Karen and Kevin, and he said that the police were called because they had caused such a disturbance, and they were banned from shopping at any Macy's stores. He also said that he closed down their Macy's credit card account. The store manager gave me a discount on the G-Shock watch and a gift card. I now shop online at Macy's since that incident. I suppose that I could have gotten Karen's and Kevin's names from the police and filed a civil lawsuit, but I never did. It took me quite a few weeks and a lot of therapy to get over this incident, but I still wear the watch daily and love it. It just goes to show you that Karen's and Kevin's come in all sorts of shapes and sizes, race and religion, etc. I think this is a case of it's okay that you didn't file a civil suit. They were trying to hurt your dog, and I can imagine how distressing that would be, coupled with being inside a large mall with a ton of people in there. You took care of you and were pleasant afterwards with the staff. That's all you needed to do. And our second story. Making my coworker drive herself to the brink of a mental breakdown. I've been working at the same pool for almost 4 years now. I like most of the staff there, and things flow really well as long as everyone does the bare minimum amount of effort. There's one girl who's been on the brink of being fired several times for not doing even the minimum, But we can't because Lifeguards run in short supply out here. Just imagine your typical Tumblerina SJW self-entitled Snorlax. Yeah, from now on I'll refer to her as Snorlax because I'm that petty. To give you a better idea about her, I started a few years after her, but outranked Snorlax within a year. I'm her supervisor. When we close for the evening, there are certain jobs that you do, but some require a key, like locking up the money or resetting the chlorine in the basement. I have this key, she does not, and probably never will. But I digress. Before we put the covers on the pool for the night, I go to change the radio station from the pop Katy Perry, Nicki Minaj station to some hard, classic rock because all the swimmers are gone. After putting the first of 7 tarps on the pools, she goes to the PA system and changes it back to the pop station. I guess this girl's never seen Rush Hour and just doesn't know never to touch a black man's radio. Her reasoning is that her coworkers listen to the rock station all morning at her other job, since being fired for being too slow on the assembly line, and doesn't want to hear it anymore. I've been listening to this pop stuff for almost 6 hours, so she can bite the bullet. I turn off the radio and connect my phone via Bluetooth to the stereo system and tell her to stay on deck and finish rolling up tarps with me. By myself, I can pull the covers off and on in about 20 minutes. She cops an attitude, starts pouting about the music hurting her ears, etc., and this whole process takes almost a full 30 minutes. She has no upper body strength anyway, so I'm basically pulling them while she guides. But I digress. The petty. I go to put the cash away from the register and lock up. She starts to head to her car, and I tell her she needs to test the chlorine levels, but she has the audacity to tell me, that's your job. What? I explained to her that I do everything she does, plus the supervision duties and being responsible for her. She's had an open 40-minute window to test chemicals, but decided to be on her phone. Fine, but your job still needs to get done. She does the chemicals and tells me I have to go reset the chlorine. I can tell by looking at the water's murkiness that the chlorine is fine and guess the test is going to come back around 2.6, but she says I need to stay to make sure. Anything below a 2.0 needs more chlorine added downstairs with that magical key. Does the test, bam, 2.5. I told her it'd be good, but some people just have to see for themselves. But I digress. The revenge. The next day, Snorlax is on call, which means she gets to sit on her butt at home and come in if we need her. From 1 to 25 swimmers, we need 1 guard. From 26 to 40 swimmers, we need 2 guards. 41 to 60, 3 guards, etc. Around our busiest time, the pool is at 35 swimmers, but more people are probably going to come, so I call Snorlax and tell her to come in. Takes her about 15 minutes, which is too slow for someone who's on call, and she should have been written up for it. She guards for maybe half an hour before things die back down to us only needing 1 guard on deck, so I send her home. Little did she know there was a birthday party with a bunch of kids scheduled to come in half an hour later. I guess I forgot to tell her. I call her again and let her know about the party, and she's already home. She comes back, and the kids are almost ready to swim. Technically, we could have gotten by without her, but better safe than sorry, right? We need her for maybe 45 minutes before the kids go to eat pizza and cake. Eventually, she leaves without telling me, but I see her car pull away. How rude. The father of the birthday girl comes up and asks me if it'd be okay for them to get back in after eating, and I tell them that's an old wives' tale and swim as long as they want. Uh-oh, looks like we might need another guard. I call Snorlax, and she's pretty upset by this point, but I tell her it's her job, and she's back in less than 5 minutes. At this time, there are only the birthday party kids and some old ladies doing water aerobics, so we only really need 1 guard. Seconds after she scans her time card to clock in, I tell her to clock out because we don't need her anymore, and she needs to head home one last time. Don't try to pull rank on me, and never touch a black man's radio. The most important lesson I've learned all day, never touch a black man's radio. I love it, the power of power. And our last story. Karen is demanding I take down my privacy fence. I recently had to deal with a classic Karen neighbor situation, and let me tell you, it's been a journey. I built a privacy fence on my property after following all the applicable guidelines and making sure everything was up to code. Seems straightforward, right? Well, Karen next door didn't think so. She's been demanding that I take down my fence because, according to her, it blocks the view from her lot line window. Now, let's be real here. I absolutely put the fence up out of spite, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. These neighbors have been a nightmare since day one. For starters, Karen used to trespass onto my property regularly. She'd literally lift her kid out of their window and into my yard to play with my dogs without ever asking. Thankfully, my dogs are gentle, but that's still a major violation. She and her family also loved using my yard as their personal smoking lounge, casually strolling in like they owned the place. But it didn't stop there. On more than one occasion, Karen and her husband accessed my property through that window without permission. At one point, they even dug up part of my yard to inspect a leak in their below-grade wall, again without permission, leaving a mess and ruining my garden in the process. To top it off, they allowed contractors to traipse through my property as if it was theirs, using the same window as a convenient shortcut. Now, here's the part that really gets under my skin. Before the house was passed down to me, my elderly aunt lived here for years. These same neighbors bullied her relentlessly, trying to force her to sell the property to them. They would do things to damage the property on purpose and harassed her so much that it led to several legal disputes. My aunt won every single one of those cases, including stop work orders that had to be enforced against them for trying to pull stunts like this in the past. So yeah, I built that fence not just for privacy, but also to stop their trespassing once and for all. They claim they need access for their sketchy window egress, but I'm not okay with that. No easement exists, and they have no legal rights over my property. Their house used to have a backyard like everyone else, so there's no grandfathered clause they can cling to. Update. Karen decided to take me to court over the fence. Can you believe the nerve? She thought she had a case because her window was blocked, but the fence is 100% on my property, and it's there to secure my yard from her trespassing. Plus, given her long history of using my property without permission, the judge didn't even bat an eye. Karen lost this battle, and my fence is staying right where it is. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.